tout ce que je peux dire, c'est que je vais monter sur le ring, après savoir ma stratégie, savoir comment ça va se passer, je ne sais pas. Je le saurai sur le ring. Je le saurai sur le ring. Ça, c'est mon point fort dans la boxe. Voilà. Encore une fois. Et encore une fois.
Okay.
To that. I answered it because when you come here to Philadelphia, you come here for one thing. You come here either to kick butt or get your butt kicked. And Philly's been 50-50 with that. I mean, some fighters that grew up here got the bad end of the stick, and some who came left with 2 black eyes and a busted lip. Morrade Hakkar, he would leave with the 2 black eyes and a busted lip. But Philadelphia is a fight town that always was recognized as having the best middleweights in the world. Benny Briscoe, Willie the Worm, Cyclone Hart, Boogaloo Watts. I can go on, Joey Joe Ardella. The great history in Philadelphia and at the Spec Room, where the fight's going to be March 29th, is a historic place like the Garden is in New York City. So Philadelphia is coming out to embrace this fight. Everybody's excited. They got their champion here, their hometown Philadelphia guy, with the Undisputed Championship title wrapped around his name, and to represent for the 16th time defense of these titles.
Fighting?
Well, I've been watching tapes in the last month or two in camp, watching Morrade Hakkar. He's a guy that is a double-edged sword. You can watch the tape and not train, and then you're in trouble. I think it's more of what Bernard Hopkins is going to bring to the table and give the fans, and less of what they're expecting from Morrade Hakkar. But Morrade Hakkar is coming from France over the water to at least try, I believe. As long as I have kept that in my mind for the last 2 to 3 months, that here's a #1 contender, how many people have gotten their lives changed dramatically because of that position. And I can continue to mention not nothing 10, 15 years ago, recently, the Klitschko brothers, Vernon Forhurst. I try to stimulate the media's mind. They understand that these guys are top-notch fighters who had 500 fighters, no chance on winning. And these individuals believe, I assume, the hype that they're getting in there with a upgraded sparring partner. That motivated me to train harder. No one should be underestimated or taken lightly, not in the sport of boxing, and definitely not in life.
Scales in underneath the 160 division. 159 for Hakkar.
Bernard Hopkins, 158 and a half.
And 158 a half for Bernard. A bit disappointed, but he won't if he walks away with another win. You take a look at the tail of the tape, Bernard Hopkins, the bigger man. 4 inches taller, a pound lighter, or about a half-pound lighter, actually. And then he's 8 years older. He has a 3 inches advantage in reach, and he's coming off of 2 big wins. His last win in February over Carl Daniels, in February of '02, that is. And prior to that, you know what he did with Felix Trinidad. Here's the rules. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and only the referee can stop the fight. A fight becomes official after 4 rounds in case of any sort of accidental headbutt.
Fight fans, here we go. Live from Philadelphia, it's time for the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. Introducing to you first the challenger on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks with gold trim, hailing from Besançon in France. He weighed in at 159 1/2 pounds. His record stands at 29 wins, 3 losses, with 18 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the European champion and the WBC #1 ranked middleweight contender, introducing the challenger, Morrade Hakkar. And his opponent across the ring on my left, the defending world champion, fighting out of the red corner, wearing orange trunks, fighting out of and representing his home of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at a ready 158 1/2 pounds. His record stands at 41 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 30 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of boxing's great champions tonight, making a record 16th defense of his title. Here is the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, introducing Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins. Once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions is Frank Cappuccino. 12 rounds of action scheduled.
Take everything off. Take everything.
All right, we wait for Frank Cappuccino to call the fighters in. Bernard Hopkins all decked out in his orange trunks. He's even got his Grant orange gloves on.
Let's go.
And he's got Hakkar is going to wear those same orange gloves as well. So he's got to wear his colors. There we go.
You were both given your instructions in the dressing room. Both is protect yourself at all times. When I say break or stop, do it. Both these touch gloves now.
All right, we're set to go. Frank Cappuccino, brief, but he's the man in charge in the ring. Bernard Hopkins surprised the world. He surprised everybody but himself when he scored a 12th round TKO knockout victory over Felix Trinidad in September of 2001. The chant USA goes up. It's tough for Hakkar to come from France and fight in the backyard in Philadelphia of Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins has those hands high as Hakkar bounces around to his right, circling. He doesn't seem to want to get anywhere near Bernard Hopkins, but he's going to be cautious in the early going. Hopkins tries to cut him off. A lot of foot movement by Hakkar. You heard what Bernard Hopkins said before the fight. He said, when you watch the films of this guy, you wouldn't train at all, but you can't take that chance. Now he finally catches up with him, and he gets on him with a couple of left hooks. Hakkar up on his toes, bounces back to his left, now back to his right. That's all he's done so far. He hasn't thrown any punches. He's just staying away from Bernard. Crowd getting a little bit itchy as he bangs the rope. Now Bernard stands right in the center of the ring. Tries to cut him off, bounces back. He drops his hands for a second, and Hakkar makes like he's coming at him. You hear the buzzing of the crowd. It's the most unusual start to a fight that I've seen in a while, with Hakkar doing absolutely nothing but dancing and moving, trying to make himself an awkward target for Bernard Hopkins. What Hopkins needs to do is step towards the ropes and make him come back to him. He's chasing him down. You got to slide to his right and not chase him. Don't follow him around. He hits him with a shot, and Hakkar goes back to the ropes. His first light punch that hits him. Don't forget, this guy's the European middleweight champ, and 7 times he defended the French title. And with the French champions that I mentioned, like Piozo and Bruno Girard and guys of that nature, you know, French fighters are good fighters, especially the Kerry's French fighters. Bernard's supremely confident. He chases him down wild with the left hook. Hakkar blinks to the eyes of that left hand sails over his head. He's done absolutely nothing in this round. He's just staying away from the executioner. And Bernard would like to make short work of this guy. Now he feels the power of Hopkins. Still doesn't do anything but back off. And he gets clipped by a right hand. And now Bernard gestures to him and throws the right hand again. Hakkar dances away, but he's felt some power here in the first round of Bernard. But he's done nothing except dance. Around to his left. Look at the United States, I feel that the French are great people for retreating. And this guy is doing nothing to change our minds on that. Look at this guy. Wow, with the right hand is Bernard Hopkins. But what he needs to do is just show patience. And what I would do if I were Bernard is just go up to the ropes yourself and let the guy come to you. No sense of chasing the guy. And then the USA chants begin to go up again as the French fighter dances around to his left. I'll tell you one thing, he's in good shape. The guy can run a 3-minute mile. He can cover the mile, but he can run for 3 minutes. That's all he's done. And here comes the bell to end round number 1. Well, that's the Bernard Hopkins round. All he can do is try to catch him for bigger money. I worked too hard to get the belts, and I'm going to take every mandatory as it comes. At 38 years old, he feels like he can hang on to this belt for a couple of more years because he is in tremendous physical condition. He doesn't do anything to, hurt that body of his. It's always in magnificent condition. He's in great physical shape. But he is 38 years old. The first thing to go, the reflexes. But, you're not going to notice that tonight unless Hakkar stops and fights. Hakkar now plants his feet, and Bernard comes in and cracks him with the right hand. Now Bernard walks away and makes him come to him. And that's exactly what he should do. Don't let you chase this guy. Make him come to you. He steps in, didn't even land that right hand. You knock him out. Hakkar up on his nose again, circling to his right. Bernard trying to measure him with the left hand and set the right hand up. He caught him with that right hand. Bernard steps away, tries to make him come to him again. He's upstairs with the left hand. Supremely confident, I should say, and confident for that matter, is Bernard Hopkins. It's a nice jab, very hard target. He's going to wait till this guy just runs out of gas a little bit and then try to outbox him. Oh, the right hand clipped him high in the temporal bone. Bernard's on top of him now. And Hakkar just putting him no defense at all. And that kind of hot-dogging a little bit, but that's almost what you have to do against a guy like this. Because this guy seemingly, really doesn't want to engage just yet. I still expect to see him get into this fight. I don't expect him to continue doing this. He's trying to feel his way out, make the crowd out of it a little bit by moving around. Now he sits down and decides to fight a little bit. Throws what look like very weak punches. He throws a light left jab and then a right hand. There's nothing behind it. Bernard just lets him come into the corner. Now he lands a couple shots, and now he's into the fight a little bit. Bernard feints to the right, feints to the left. Punches him up with the left hand. Hopkins in the orange trunks with the black trim facing you. Hakkar, the Frenchman, in the white trunks with the gold trim. A little bit more into it now. Holds the hands high. Bernard misses with a wild right hand. Comes with the uppercut. Bounces the head back in the Frenchman. And try to missing with a lot of shots. Remember, Bernard has 4 inches in reach advantage and 4 inches in height. About 3 inches really in reach advantage and 4 inches in height. Bernard bangs him inside. Nice uppercut inside by Hopkins. Now Hakkar is into the fight a little bit. Well, only 15 seconds to go in the second round. Hakkar right in front of him. His legs don't look steady to me. Like one of the shots that Bernard hit him with must have done something to him because his legs don't look real steady. As the bell ending the second round until he ran into Christian Zavia in Milan, Italy, and he lost the European title, but then he gained it back in his last fight. So he had that string of 11 wins in the 7 defenses before he ran into the Italian fighter for the European title, but he came back to take the European title in the 7th round TKO victory. Now he's not running anymore, and he seems like he wants to fight now. So he wasn't retreating, and I take back what I said. He's here to fight now, and I like it. Now Hakkar is here to the fight. And Bernard Hopkins now trying to land a clean shot. He'd like to end this thing dramatically. He doesn't want to get dragged into the 7th or 8th round. And you just get the idea that Bernard has much more power than this guy. While they weigh almost exactly the same, there's a big difference in size. Bernard just looks so much stronger than this guy. Don't forget, 38 years of age. There's the uppercut that his corner was asking for. Sloan Harrison, who works the corner, said, come on, Bernard, where's the uppercut? And Bernard was looking to land it when he had him bent over that time to get the absolute maximum amount of power in it. Bernard Hopkins is there was a nice right uppercut inside that time. Remember, this is the guy that outboxed Felix Tito Trinidad. And I mean, beat Trinidad convincingly. And he's had his fight with Charles Daniels since then, which wasn't much of a fight. But it did go 10 rounds. Oh, he's caught him with some good shots here. And Hakkar is taking some pretty good power shots. That's a slip in the corner. It's wet in the corner. That's actually Bernard Hopkins' corner. And Frank Cappuccino, a veteran of 90 world title fights, one of the best referees around, who's been around a long time. right away cleaned the gloves off and realized that it was a slip immediately. Oh, big shot that time. Rocked. Morrade Hakkar. Hakkar was really hit with a good shot that time. We're not wondering why he didn't knock him down with that shot. Well, I'll tell you what, Hakkar's in good shape. There's the left hand again. We're not skipping towards him now. Hakkar gets out of there and skips away to his right, trying to stay away and not be right in front of Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins sort of measures him coming in with the uppercut again. Bernard really turns over, caught him with a good right hand uppercut. He's punishing him right now with some clean shots. He's not going to be able to gobble up that many shots like this from Bernard Hopkins, because Hopkins has hit him with, I would say, 6 or 7 clean shots in this round. Every once in a while, Hakkar gets through there, but it doesn't take any toll on Bernard.
Stop! 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 Oh! When I
Closing
say stop,
seconds now,
stop,
the third
man.
round. Of course, Hakkar speaks French, but I'm sure he knows what the word stop means. Frank Cappuccino tells him to get that grease off the face. They get tons of grease over the right eye, it appears. I couldn't tell if there was a slit in that right eye of Hakkar.
The real way.
You might have heard Frank Cappuccino screaming out, "Hey guys, try to stay away from the corners. They're real wet," and they are. But we've had about 8 or 10 fights here tonight, and this is the final one. And this time of night, they do get wet in the corners, but they're extremely sloppy. And Hakkar slipped in the third round, and you don't want a guy to twist an ankle and have a fight end that sort of thing. So Frank Cappuccino, being the veteran that he is, hey guys, watch yourself. It's Hakkar trying to mount some sort of offense here. And as I say that, right back comes Bernard. Hopkins digs to the body, left hook to the body, left hook upstairs. Hard body shot, light left hook upstairs. Looping right hand crashes to the cheek of Hakkar. There's a left hook. Hakkar. Hakkar tries to come back, but the power shots are being landed by Bernard Hopkins. I'll tell you one thing, Hakkar is tough. In the first round when he was running, I said this is going to be much of a fight, but I'll tell you this gets tough. He's throwing some shots, trying to hang in there, and everything's against him. The country's against him, the city's against him, and Hopkins, one of the very best slick, intelligent boxers that ever donned the gloves. I mean, this guy is a tremendous fighter. And he's never really been a big favorite of the crowds, except here in Philadelphia. They really love him. And I don't know why, because he's a colorful guy. He's an intelligent guy. He had slick move, he slip to his left, back to his right, then the body shots, back upstairs, throw a lot of punches. 122, 120 to go in the fourth round. Bernard just totally outboxing this guy. But Hakkar hanging in there pretty good. Whether he can turn it around and really make an attempt to win this fight is another kettle of fish. Because apparently it seems to me that whatever Hakkar lands doesn't hurt Hopkins at all. In the fourth round of a scheduled 12-round world middleweight title fight. And Hakkar now seems to have a bit of confidence in spite of the fact that he's puffy around the cheeks. He's taking some pretty good shots by Bernard Hopkins, but he seems to have a confidence about him and certainly a grit about him. And now we have the makings of what might be a good fight. Let's see if Hakkar can mount any assault on Bernard Hopkins with about 30 seconds to go in the fourth round. Hopkins is superbly and supremely confident. Has the eye right on him. Knows how to tie him up inside. He gets clean shots to the body. Here the ref Frank Cappuccino said, let him go inside. Bernard stops, plants, and loads up a right hand and sails over the shoulder of the French fighter. Short with a jab. And there's just another round as the bell ends the fourth round that Bernard Hopkins just outboxes Morrade Hakkar. Mark Goldberg, you're watching King Vision around the world. We're coming to you from the Philadelphia Spectrum in the United States of America, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Glad that you can be with us. This is the undisputed World Middleweight Championship. Morrade Hakkar in the white trunks has come here from France to try and lift the title from Bernard Hopkins. And he's behind 4-0 right now, or the 10-point must scoring system, 40-36. He's going to do something. He's going to mount an assault to try and stop Hopkins from winning every single round here. Hopkins is able to come through his jab. He's able to land the left hook. He's got him with uppercuts. The right hand is a stiff jab in the face. And no matter what he does, Hopkins is able to get that jab through when he throws it properly, when he really steps up into it. But Bernard does a lot of sneaky things that you really don't understand, nor do I, the way he does it, but he executes things so well. You know, he'll be just cruising along and almost toying with the guy, and then he'll step up and throw a real proper jab where he drives off his back foot and nails him with a left jab, and then he'll throw a vicious right hand behind it, and then maybe come back with a left hook. He does a lot of things very well. Cracked him inside with the right hand. Now Bernard has chosen to stay on the ropes. He knows it's not especially a good place to fight, but he's waiting to try to sucker the guy in, and he did. He caught him with a left hook, followed by a right hand. And that hook was kind of an uppercut sort of hook. Half uppercut, half hook, I should say. Halfway through the 5th round. And again, Hakkar just can't seem to mount any offense at all. And he's trying. He's working hard.
Let him go.
But I mean, Hopkins, when you look at the two guys, just looks so much bigger and stronger than Hakkar. Walks into the uppercut again. I mean, Bernard just timed that perfectly and caught him coming in. Bernard with a chin tuck, goes with the right hand lead downstairs, bangs the body upstairs with the left hand, snaps the head back of Hakkar. Hakkar's got those gloves up now, and Bernard lets the right hand go, and it sails over his head. Hakkar not doing anywhere near the running. He wants to fight, but he just can't seem to mount any offense at all. Look at him fight in here. He's got grit. He is tough. Look at this as the exchange is inside. Might be a little early to do that with Bernard. Maybe try to drag Bernard into the later rounds and then exchange with him. But he's not afraid of this guy at all. It's just his style of fighting in the first round. He wanted to get by the first round, and he did nothing but dance around the whole time. And he sat down a couple of times to get cracked with a pretty good right hand that time. Another good right hand by Bernard Hopkins. But Hakkar is not landing any power shots at all. And what he has landed that look to be powerful shots, I mean, Bernard just gobbled them up with no pain whatsoever. Didn't shift him at all. But Bernard, on the other hand, hasn't been able to shift Hakkar. Really shift. All right, there's the bell ending the 5th round. It's another one of those Hopkins outboxing him around. Michelle Carey's fighters are always in good physical condition. And that's one of the reasons why it's obvious to me that Hakkar really isn't as gifted a fighter as Bernard Hopkins at this stage. It's clear to me anyway. But, I mean, this guy is in tremendous physical condition. He's come here to the United States at a bad time, considering the politics between France and the United States, and come to the backyard of Bernard Hopkins, and he's trying to lift this title, and he's trying to make a fight of it against a guy who's arguably one of the best middleweights of all time. I mean, he beat Trinidad, and that puts him in that category. Oh, right hand, left hook that time, put it back in his heels. Bernard shapes it a little bit, and he goes after him and buckles the knees that time. Bernard wants to hot dog it just a bit right now. He feels like he's got him hurt, and he may well have him hurt. A lot of time left in the round. A crunching body shot to the wrist. And now if he can't answer back, Frank Cappuccino will look in the eyes. He won't let this guy tee off and take his head off. Frank won't allow that to happen. So Hakkar had better throw some punches back. Oh, another big clean right hand. Spins him, and now Bernard is just having a field day, and now he takes a knee. And that's the smart thing to do as Frank chases him away. The count's up to 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9. He's not going to get up.
Bernard over there.
The count would be to about 14 now. But you know what? Bernard was not in the neutral corner, so Frank stopped the count, and he would have been counted out. So he got a second win. There's still a minute and 20 to go. And he stole an extra 3 or 4 seconds. But look at Bernard now. He's all over him. Look at this. That was an unusual thing, but you got to go to the neutral corner. Frank stopped the count. And Bernard just sort of hot dogging it. It's like a workout for him right now. He's enjoying what he dreamed of his night in Philadelphia with all the middleweight belts on the line. Loads up the right hand. And it was unusual the way Hakkar went down. He got hit with a couple of hard shots, and he wasn't ready to go, and he realized he was hurt, so he went and took a knee, and that's a smart thing to do. And then it worked in his favor. It didn't look like he was going to get up for the 10 count, and Bernard drifted out of the neutral corner, and Frank Cappuccino stopped the count. That time he slipped. Right on top of it is Cappuccino says, no, no, no. Tells Bernard, don't push him down. 20 seconds to go in the 6th round. Bernard's enjoyed this round. It's like, you know, he's putting on an exhibition in front of his hometown crowd here, and he loves it, and everything is going his way. Digging body shot by Hopkins. There's the French kid hanging in there as best he can, trying to battle back after being knocked down. And there's the belt ending the 6th round. That's a big round for Hopkins.
Okay, everything off the jab.
Thanks, Frank.
Now look, you're either going to count.
You're looking good, baby. You're looking good. Now let's go play with it. Let's go ahead and do what we got to do. Let's go play with him. You're looking good. Make him run to that right hand up underneath. You got to use that stick, baby.
Now watch the shot that rocks him. Boom, right there. The right hand and the left hook. And Bernard, instead of jumping on him, kind of hot dogs it a little bit, and then a big, big right hand. And you'll see him take the knee now. That right hand really hurt him. And then he realized that Bernard very wisely doesn't throw any punches because he could have been disqualified on the spot had he let one go. And you know, the temptation if you're a street fighter is to throw that punch to the guy down on his knee. And that's the last thing that you want to do. You don't want to spoil the record, I'll tell you that. Okay, here we go with the 7th round. And the big message that I got from the corner of Bernard Hopkins in between rounds from Sloan Harrison was, hey, let's not play with this guy. Let's get him out of there now. And Frank Cappuccino will be watching closely because if Bernard hits him with 3 or 4 real clean shots and this guy can't defend himself, he'll stop this fight. Bernard bangs the body, hands are free. Now he stops him. Bouncing around to his right in the 7th round here in Philadelphia. Morrade Hakkar. Bernard Hopkins right on him. Now here's Hakkar up in his toes, trying to get some blood circulation through those legs again. Because based on the heavy shots he took in the 6th round, where he was down, he's going to be hurting a little bit. Bangs up against the ropes. Bernard bangs his body, digs into the ribs, another rib shot. Oh, he caught him with a big, strong right hand. He's actually ready to go, but he has the sense to hang on. He's actually out on his feet right now as he falls back on his heels. Bernard chases him across the ring, feints after him. He's back up against the ropes. He's been hurt, I'll tell you that right now. Bernard loading up shots. And I think this guy is looking for Frank Cappuccino to come in and stop the fight. He's down. He counts up to 4 and 5. And you know what? Frank is not calling that a knockdown. He says to Bernard, you got to stay off his neck. And the crowd doesn't like it. They say he pushed him down. But it's kind of academic because Hakkar's getting beaten up so bad. Hopkins just wants to time the big shot, put the lights on, and finish it off. He's trying to get the guy to come into him. There's that stiff jab. It's all Bernard Hopkins. This is one of the most lopsided middleweight title fights you'll ever see. Has the right hand that drops him that time. And again, Frank Cappuccino says no because he slips in the water in his own corner.
Stay away from the corner. Okay.
And now not only that, Frank says stay away from that corner. So Hakkar has got every break he can possibly get in terms of being knocked down here. And Cappuccino told him about the water in the corners. And now Hakkar back up running around, and now he takes a couple of good shots. One in the body, one back upstairs, the big left hook. Back over this corner again. Bernard almost winding up with the right hand now. He really wants to end this thing, but there's only 29 seconds to go in the round. Left hooks landing, right hands to the body. Hakkar tries to battle back. Bernard loading up shots. Oh, there's the right hand. It was there, but he didn't get it off. And I'm wondering, you know, are those the tiny little things that against a better opponent, they could be getting into some problems in timing for Bernard? Because he's throwing so many punches, it's impossible for me to evaluate that against an opponent of his quality. The bell ends the 7th round, and the referee said no in the corner one time, and then they called it a slip in the other corner. He called it forcing him down. 2 vicious body shots to open the 8th round, scored by Bernard Hopkins. And Hakkar is just taking an old-fashioned whooping here now. Just taking a beating to the ribs. It's going to be one sore guy. But you know, with the shots that he's taking, I can't say enough about how tough he is, because he's hanging in there and trying to fight. Diggy's body shot, he slips again, and now Frank Cappuccino is letting him get those gloves dusted off. And of course, he's having trouble communicating with the French fighters. He's knowing the call, and Frank points to the corner and says, "You see it's wet over there, try to stay out of there." Very hard to do when you're being chased around. You need the whole ring to stay out of two corners. But Frank is at least trying to do that. And because of the wetness in the corners, Hakkar has got a couple of breaks here in the fight. Because if that wasn't ruled a slip in that corner, when the gloves touch the canvas, that's a knockdown. Nothing can touch the canvas but your soles of your feet. Otherwise, it's a knockdown. No knee, no elbow, no hands. Uppercut inside. Hopkins just doing whatever he wants. It's like a glorified sparring session for Bernard now. Digging body shot, riveting, piston-like jab to the face, looping right hand, sneaky right hand lead that time, backs him off. The French is this super, super tough kid. As he's just getting pounded. His face is looking like somebody took a meat cleaver and just smacked him on it, not a cleaver, but a tenderizer. Just smacked him about 20 times in the face. The right eye starting to close up. He's going to slip by the right eye. He's puffing below the right eye, and that move will become a problem if Bernard lands some real shots on top of that, because it's swelling up pretty good right now. That's the jab in the face and the right hand. When Hakkar is circling to his left, he gets nailed by right-hand shots, and he didn't see them coming. Bernard in magnificent shape. There's a body shot downstairs that would floor some people, but Hakkar is in magnificent condition. I mean, you know, you can joke about the running aspect, but you've got to be in shape to be able to do that. And here we are in the 8th round with only 32 seconds to go, and he's still in there. He hasn't won a round yet, but he's hanging in with the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. That isn't what he came here to do. He didn't want to hang in there. He doesn't appear to have enough power that even if he got lucky, he could knock out Bernard, and everything is going Hopkins' way. Hopkins loads up the right hand, almost an adrenaline flow by Bernard. But Bernard is fighting the full 3 minutes of every round. And, you know, you talk about conditioning, this guy is in great shape. And Bernard's right, as the bell ends at the 8th round, if he didn't train and wasn't in shape for full 10 or 12 rounds, whatever this eventually will go, you know, this guy could have cruised to this point and take advantage of it. Listen into the corner now. Well, it's all over. They're stopping the fight.
We're good, man. We're good. I like the movement and everything.
And Bernard Hopkins retains the title. The fight is all over.
I prepare. Okay.
And now, with you now.
Gentlemen, this bout has been stopped upon suggestion of the corner. Our referee in charge, Frank Cappuccino, stops the contest at the end of round number 8. The winner by way of technical knockout, and still the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Well, there wasn't much drama, but for Bernard Hopkins, it was his night.
Come on, Fernando Vargas. Come on, Oscar De La Hoya. Winky Wright, Mayoga, Sugar Shane Mosley. Beat the old man. 38 years old, baby. Stop hiding behind your promoters. Y'all man.
Okay, Colonel, thanks a lot once again for the 16th time. Bernard Hopkins can hold his undisputed middleweight championship belt up. Well, he's going to put it on his right shoulder. That's good enough. Bernard, the first question I have to ask you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I thought I caught you smiling in that first round when you were watching him dance around. I thought you were going to just laugh.
Well, I got to give it a little smirk. I mean, you know, Bernard Hopkins laid a little rust off the first couple rounds, but I felt real sharp in the mid rounds. And again, you know, I don't think fighters honestly carry fighters purposely. I think it got a lot to do with basically just working on my craft and knowing that I can execute when it's time, and wanting to show my skills in front of my own crowd. This is the last time I'll be fighting here in Philadelphia on this magnitude, so I wanted to go ahead and give the fans something to at least talk about and show my skills for those who are watching and thinking about fighting Bernard Hakkar. And I don't know what they think tonight, how I look good or bad. But guess what? At 38 years old, I think I got an A across the board, and I got rounds in, and I feel good, and I'm not cut up, I'm not sparring, I didn't take any serious punishment.
Well, at least he stopped that, and he did fight. I mean, you got to give credit that he did start to fight.
Let me tell you something, most definitely, and that's why I always got to take every opponent as a threat, because a card didn't come in and lay down, as you've seen. He tried to move, it wasn't pretty, but listen, if I would have kept missing big shots and didn't train, been out of gas, then McCall would have been more confident to come in, and he was waiting to see if that was the case. But Bernard Hopkins maintained his posture, maintained his professionalism, and slowly was going to dissect him and get it out of there. It wasn't going to go to remain the rounds.
All right. To be perfectly blunt about it, a mandatory is a mandatory, and you take every mandatory that comes down to fight. There's no doubt about that. But where do you go from here, and who do you look for to get away from fights like this, above and beyond the mandatory, for a Bernard Hopkins, an undisputed champion, to continue to fight the kind of fights that people deserve to see coming from you?
Well, first, I think, as the rumor has been, Mickey Wright have accepted the challenge that I put out a week ago. Oscar De La Hoya is doing what Oscar does. But the public and myself and Don King, my promoter, just going to have to start banging drums, instigating, they call it, and making guys and people understand around the world that Bernard Hopkins is so-called pushing 40. Why is many young guys knocking on Don King's door with promoters saying they want to knock this old senior citizen off? I think I cannot make a fight. The only thing I do is instigate a fight. Bring their names, talk about it. But when the Larry Merchants and the people of the world saying, wait a minute, Bernard Oscar is not going to fight you, well, that's kind of two-sided. They let the world know. You the network, you work for HBO. Call them a coward, Larry. You're a commentator. You want to see the big fights. Don't tell me behind closed doors that these guys won't fight me. This is the problem. If they won't fight me, then call them a chicken. Then instigate it, Larry. Instigate it, any commentators, writers, or internet reporters, and say, fight Bernard. And if they give you an excuse, say, wow, the man is 38 years old. Make the fight. So I'll fight anybody.
Well, I know you're not going to give up any of the titles that you hold, because you hold that very close to you, and you're not going to do that. So at what weight would you feel comfortable fighting if you had to go outside the middleweight division?
I feel comfortable fighting at a catch weight. If there's someone in the junior middleweight came make 60, 57, 56, I feel comfortable fighting 8. Look, I wanted to fight Mitchell before he went over there and put the guy in Germany, Hockey. I asked Don begging basically for that fight. But somehow I didn't get that fight. It was telling me that I could have had a super middleweight belt. Maybe we wouldn't have kept it, but it was just something for marquee value. So, again, anybody from 54 to 68, I'm willing and able to make it. I don't need to go overseas to prove myself. The overseas fighters got to fight the American fighters who has credibility and also have star power. So Frank Warren, any one of them guys want to pick Galazaki or whoever on Bernard Hopkins' plate, they got to come over to USA where all the money's at.
That's where it is. Thank you, Bernard. Once again, champion for the 16th time. He wants to do it 20, so he's got a few more to go. Bernard Hopkins pitched the shutout tonight in winning this fight. Colonel, let's go back to you.
All right, so again, an interesting night here in Philadelphia. He got his dream come true. It cost him about between $7 and $10 million, if you believe all the rumors of what the American networks were supposed to have offered. And I believe that there was a lot of money on the table that he got his chance to shine here in Philadelphia. A wonderful night. We're glad that you could be with us here for a Don King production show coming to you from Philadelphia, the place of brotherly love. Well, in our first fight tonight, you get to see Eric Mitchell in his first round knockout victory over Alejandro Barrio, as Mitchell won in the first round. In our second big fight of the evening, a great feature fight. I won't call it a great fight, but it was a real good heavyweight fight. The banger and the boxer, and the surprising factor that Hasim Rahman was able to gobble up the power of David Tua, and he got rocked several times, especially in the 6th, 7th, and 8th round. But when it all came down, it came down to a draw on the judges' scorecard. So they may have to do that again. We'll see exactly what Don King takes David Tua and Hasim Rahman. And then in the scheduled 12-round undisputed middleweight championship of the world, you just saw Bernard Hopkins and a shutout over Morrade Hakkar, the Frenchman, who wasn't to have his night here in the sunshine area of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But it was plenty of sunshine for that man, Bernard Hopkins. You heard what Bernard had to say. He'll fight anybody. He wants a glamorous and glorious fight, but he's not going to give up any of the mandatories. He said he worked too hard for his belts, and he'll fight them in between and leave it to the master of them all in Don King. Well, we certainly want to thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. For our director, Rick Phillips, and our producer, Marty Cohen, and for Mark Goldberg and our entire production staff here at King Vision, I'm the Colonel Bob Sheridan saying hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. So long from Philadelphia. Good night, everybody.